Hey everyone, I'm Damian Holbert from TV Guide Magazine and TV Insider, and I'm talking with Stone Cold Steve Austin, who is coming to A&E with his own show.
From the desert to the ice, from two wheels to two rotors. You never know where I'll show up next. Can I take your order, please? Because I may be retired, but I ain't taking it easy. I'm taking it on.
Steve, what should I call you?
Call me Steve.
Steve.
The title of the show is called Stone Cold Takes on America, which kind of threw me for a loop as well, just because Stone Cold Taking on America has the marquee value that it does.
Yeah.
But I live my life as Steve, and just call me Steve.
Okay. And we're not seeing Stone Cold in these jobs that you're taking on. We're seeing Steve.
Yeah, either fortunately or unfortunately, you're seeing Steve.
So what, and I mean, when I think about it, I'm reading it, it was like, okay, these are all the jobs that, everything kind of that you did really miss out on because the career you had was all consuming. You know, that career was traveling, touring, appearances, filming, you know, having the matches, all that stuff. Like it was a 24/7, 365 job for years, right?
It was. I mean, if you're not focused on the business, you'll get left behind. And you're trying to stay healthy, just trying to be available. You got to be reliable. And so all the things that you just named, I mean, you're spending a lot of time in the gym as well. So it really does. If I had a hobby, it disappeared.
Right, right. So when you were, you know, presented with this idea, were there any jobs that you really wanted to try?
Well, I was open to suggestion, and I kind of had my wish list. Certainly, it was a lot of outdoor activities. But you know, therein when I got pitched this idea by someone I've worked with in the past, they gave me a call and said, "Hey, Steve, you want to do anything?" I said, "Like what?" "Yeah, let me think about it, and we'll get back to you." And so they pitched me this idea, and I said, "Hey, it sounds great. Let's go do it." So when you start putting together a list for something like this, you think, okay, well, here's everything I want to do. Right. Well, certainly the network and the production company has the things that they want to do. So there's always that give and take and then the final mix. So not everything was my idea. And so the things that were my idea, you can clearly see I'm like a kid in a candy store having the time of my life. And also, you know, like we were in an RV the entire time, and I slept every single night in that RV while the crew would sleep in hotels.
So hold on. How did that happen? How come they got the hotels?
Oh, that was by my request.
Oh,
I've grown up since I was a kid. My mom and dad used to take us around all over the place. My dad liked to hunt, and you know, they liked to travel in general. So I grew up RVing, and it's a love of mine and a passion of mine. And my wife and myself do a lot of RVing in our personal time. So when they pitched this to me, I'm like, well, I'm not really keen on flying anywhere just because I'd rather do this and just drive it, because I've always, if I have a steering wheel in my hand, I'm happy.
Okay.
So once I was like, hey man, if I'm going to do this show, I'm going to live this show.
And so you mentioned you love having a steering wheel in your hands, but you also, how did it feel when you were drift racing with that steering wheel?
Man, the thing about that was awesome. But it's like I've never done it in my life. It's something that's always intrigued me, and it's so. I didn't know how popular it was, and it's been around for a minute now, obviously. And I got a chance to hang out with these two professional drivers, and it turns out they're only 18 and 20 years old. Man, I'm 58. I've done a lot of cool things in my life. I've sold out Madison Square Garden a couple of times, but I've never drifted. And I started rolling. We did that in Las Vegas, and I'm rolling through the parking lot in my RV, and these two young men, these two kids. Let's call them kids. But they're extreme professionals, and they started drifting around my RV as I was just rolling forward to go to the final stopping point, and they were literally 3 or 4 inches away from each other doing these donuts around me as I'm moving forward. It was the dangest thing I've ever seen in my life, because I've never experienced that level of precision while someone drifted. And so I was completely intrigued by it, and it is very challenging.
What would you consider the most embarrassing thing they had you try?
Man, I knew you were going to ask some question like that. Some fish out of water stuff. I waited tables at a steakhouse, and I ran a drive-through window. I've been to 1 million restaurants, and I appreciate great service.
Right.
When all of a sudden and this is one of those fish out of water things. And if you watch, I won't just give it away, but you just see the look on my face and see it was extremely hard. People don't. I don't think people know how hard that is. It's one thing. It's like I think life is like what you do. Life is all about repetition. When I was in the world of professional wrestling, I was doing it every single night, and I'd followed it my entire lifetime. So putting the reps in, I became really good. When your first day on the job, how good were you at anything?
Right.
And so, and I wasn't trying to rely on the protection or the shield of protection that Stone Cold would offer me.
Right.
I was being Steve Austin, and me just being me. Like I told you, I'm a little bit of a hermit. I was a shy kid growing up, so I kind of, you're stuck in between a rock and a hard place. And instead of trying to find the humor in a situation, I'm like, I'm really trying to do a good job. And whether I succeed or not is up to anybody else to determine.
Right. What is your next job?
I work with Kawasaki Motorsports, and I'm doing some stuff for them. We're gonna film some publicity stuff, and I'm gonna go enter a race here in a couple of weeks. And this spring at one of the events that we did in the show. And so I'm going to enter a side-by-side race here in a couple of weeks. And I'm really, really looking forward to that. I just want to chill out for a little bit, see how the show does. Like when you do a show, people always say, oh, well, we think we'll get season 2. I'm like, hey, man, if we do, we do. But I'm living here now talking to you.
Steve, thank you so much. Everyone, do not miss Stone Cold Takes America on A&E. Thank you so much. Have a great time. Good luck with the race.
Thank you.
Hopefully we'll talk to you for either season 2 or whatever is next. All right.
Will do. Thank you very much.
Thank you.